7:21 in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, seeing that we're going to be talking now about an event to be held in Antigua, Barbuda next week, we should have had a bit of short shoot instead of the Black Stallion. I wonder how many people in the background here know about short shoot from the 1970s and tourist Lego and so on, which actually would have probably won the road march, except that because he wasn't from Trinidad and Tobago, he wasn't considered eligible for that. But I don't know, maybe short shoot might be at the Caribbean Telecommunications Union hosting of a symposium and a summit on the 21st century governance that is going to be held in the Twin Island state of Antigua, Barbuda from January the 16th. So that's going to be next week. We're joined now by two personalities from the organization, which is based here in Port of Spain, to give us information on what we can look forward to at the event. We have Bernadette Lewis, Secretary General of the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, and Kalloo, who is a CTU consultant, to give us some more information. Good morning to you both. Good to have you on the program.
Good to be here.
So, Ms. Lewis, what are we talking about here with this particular event next week?
Right, 21st century government. That is the theme for the week's activities. It consists of a summit for Caribbean prime ministers and heads of state, and a symposium for technocrats. And we are trying to introduce this concept of 21st century government. You would have heard of e-government. We've been talking about it for more than 20 years. And across the region, we have yet to see really compelling examples of e-government transforming the public service. What we have recognized is that the e-government initiatives tend to be pursued on a ministry by ministry basis. And that is not how it should work. When you consider the citizen and its interactions with the government is the only institution with which a citizen must interact at every stage of his development, from birth, registration of certificates of birth, the immunization, school, business, taxation. The only institution that has this sort of relationship is the government. And consequently, you cannot be dealing with the citizens' information on a ministry by ministry basis. You see the results. Our systems of governance at this point in time are based on processes that are more than 200 years old. They are based on systems where paper was the best way of dealing with issues, you know, the relationship between government and the citizens. But now you have information and communication technologies, ICT, and that transforms the possibilities of what government can do for its citizens. And we are putting forward the need for citizen-centric, seamless government, so that when you register at birth, you are issued a unique identifier, and as you go through life, you register in school and so on, the information pertaining to that unique individual is aggregated across all of the ministries, so that when you want to register your child at school, you don't have to go back to the Ministry of Health to get the
form and fill out the whole forms every time you go everywhere.
Yes, mother's maiden name, father's this, all of this.
Every time you go to renew your passport, you have to find every bit of documentation once again.
You got it. So that is what 21st century government is about, leveraging technology to to transform how the government interacts with its citizens.
And Mr. Kalloo, how does this event taking place next week, from Tuesday to Friday of next week in Antigua, how does this particular exercise assist in that regard?
Okay, so first of all, on Tuesday, we are having the summit. So the summit is where we invite the leaders, our prime ministers, so heads of government, will be attending this summit. And what we are planning to achieve, or the outcome of this, is to ensure that we have our prime ministers on board. Because when we look at international best practice, we recognize that we need to have leadership and we need to have a champion at the highest level. Because we have been working with ministers throughout the region, ministers responsible for ICT, ministers responsible for public sector reform, and there are challenges at that level in getting your whole of government to work with you. for these ministers would have had challenges in doing that. So we recognize that there's a need for leadership, for champion.
And the Prime Minister is going to tell you the same thing, that boy, the bureaucracy in this country to get anything done is a nightmare?
Well, the buck stops at the Prime Minister. So therefore we expect that the Prime Minister should lead and take the challenge. And as SG says, this is not new. The 21st century government is not something that has been, it's been around. We've been talking about e-government for years.
We might reach the 21st, 22nd century and still be talking about
21st
century governance.
What will happen is that the region will get left behind. And we are seeing that already. We are falling in international rankings tremendously.
And before I bring Ms. Lewis back into the discussion, at the end of the exercise, after the 4 days, what are you hoping comes out of it? Apart from some lovely communique indicating, oh, we're all happy like Papi and whatever, but what are you hoping comes out of it?
Right, so that's the first day. The 3 days, the symposium, is where we actually going to get our technocrats involved in developing strategies and a policy framework so that when we go back to our respective countries, and the CTU is not about developing documents. We are about implementing. So one of the challenges that we've had in the region, we like to prepare documents, and it's one of the hallmarks of the region. We prepare nice documents, but we really want to, the CTU is about implementing. So we're going to work with our members. The CTU is a government intergovernmental agency, and we work with our members to implement e-government throughout the region. And
just on that point, and just following up on what Mr. Kalloo just finished with, just tell us a bit more in a couple of minutes on the CTU, the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, for those who might be hearing about it for the first time or might have just a general idea of it. Is it an implementation arm of CARICOM? Is it what clout do you have as far as getting these things done?
The Caribbean Telecommunications Union, it was established in 1989 by the CARICOM heads of government, and one of our rules is harmonizations of policies, information and communication technologies across the region. We also serve as coordinator for regional projects. And one of the things that we've recognized is many a good project fails at the point of implementation. And that's why we have taken a stance. We are not just going to be doing documentation. We will work with our governments to implement those projects, because you would recognize we have 20 member countries across the region, very diverse. Some of them really do not have the expertise to implement, and the CTU is committed to working with our member governments to implement these things. One of the things I just want to jump off the point that Gary made, we've been talking about e-government services for more than 20 years. Right? The difference with just the e-government services and 21st century government is that we are approaching this from a whole of government, citizen-centric, seamless government. So you shouldn't have to be running to 20 different ministries to do one transaction. You should be able to operate from the phone, right? All the many channels through which the citizen could interface with its government. It is an opportunity to bring your citizens closer to the government. It is an opportunity to reduce the opportunities for corruption. We've heard a little bit about that, because when you're interfacing with machines, that opportunity for untoward interactions, it is eliminated. It is reduced significantly. And a lot of people ask, well, you're going to be putting people out of work. Yes, some types of jobs are going to disappear, but there are opportunities for new types of jobs. And I give you an example, one that came up very recently, a professional tweeter. Yes?
Okay.
Yes.
A professional tweeter.
And yes, because interactions in this age are less and less on the traditional media. This is all I work with. I was telling someone, what station, we don't watch TV. Traditional free to air, we don't. Right? So that a lot of things are happening that we would never hear about because we don't watch TV.
Time is, I guess, but very, very quickly, Mr. Kalloo, before we conclude, how confident are you that when all is said and done, God willing, on January the 19th, when this is finished, that there will be set timelines, that people will not just say in the fullness of time, or we'll get it done eventually? How confident are you that there will be timelines to the achievement of these objectives?
We are pretty confident. The CTU, as I said, is an implementation organization, and we are very confident that we can work with our members. Once we get our commitment from our prime ministers that they are going to champion this, I think we can work with our members in making a big difference in the way that government conduct its business.
Are you hoping for prime ministerial support, or are you expecting it?
We've had very good response so far from prime ministers to attend the event, and we are still working with a few other prime ministers to be here.
Well, let's see how your persuasive powers work, but let's see how the event is. Thanks very much for joining us, Bernadette Lewis and Gary Kalloo of the Caribbean Telecommunications Union. The event 21st Century Governance is going to be in Antigua and Barbuda from next week Tuesday the 16th to next week Friday the 19th, and we'll see if it will be all about implementation or promises. We'll wait and see. We'll take a break at 7:32 and continue right after that.